Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to Discrete Math for Computing. This is Professor Bob, and you are in the right spot. Now, a couple of things just to get started. Now, all of you should have turned in assignment 1 by now. A few of you haven't, and that's kind of okay. Remember I mentioned before that I kind of repeat myself quite a bit the first few weeks of class, so I over-explain things too a little bit, but just so we're all level set on this. Now, if you need some more time with assignments, you automatically get it. Just don't really wait too long to do it, especially with an easy assignment like that. Don't get in the habit of kind of like pushing it in the background, because this easy stuff you can make up pretty quickly. You really can. But later, it gets a little bit tougher, and this stuff adds up. It does add up the time to get all this stuff completed and get the stuff into me. So please keep up with it. But if you need some more time, great. That's fine. Just get it in when you can. And just give me usually a couple of days, and I via email, I'll just get your grade back to you. And I grade all of your assignments on a scale of 1 to 5. And again, we went over those rubrics a little bit. If you put your name on it, you get a 1. If you put your name on it, you give it an attempt, you usually get 2 points. If you try it, but it's pretty incomplete, you get 3. If it's pretty good and you do most of everything you need to do, you get a 4. If you do everything, pretty much you get a 5. Now, that's one question I had about grading, and that's pretty much how I grade your assignments. I don't really nitpick them. I don't look at your assignments and look at the difference between an 82 and an 85 and which one is this. I do grade them on half a point, though. Sometimes I'll give you a 4.5 out of 5 or like a 3.5 out of 5. Pardon me. Another thing I want to mention too is I don't want you to think that when you turn something in, they're final. Remember, our goal here is to learn things. Learning is continuous. Learning doesn't stop. If for some reason, anytime in the semester, you want to go back and revisit something because you learned something and you want to redo it, you can. You absolutely can. As a matter of fact, I kind of encourage that. But I don't want you to get into a situation with option paralysis, because sometimes, I got to mention that to protect the overachievers that always want to go back and get everything perfect. I wouldn't do that either, but that is an option to you. If you turn something in and you get a 4 out of 5, and later in the semester, oh yeah, you know what, you had that big light bulb moment, you could go back. Also, I do want to point out that at the end of the semester, if you're really close to your next grade, i.e. an 88, an 89, or a 78, 79, what we can do is we can revisit your assignments, and we could see if there's any room for improvement, anything that you can do. Because we don't give extra credit here, or I don't give extra credit here. The class is the class. You have ample opportunity. There's 10 assignments all semester. There's 10 assignments all semester. You approximately know the due dates by looking at the syllabus, although that's a little bit flexible, and you pretty much know what they're on. So if you know all of that, you don't need extra credit. That's, you just need the credit to actually get your grade. So, but I do promise you that if for some reason you're on the bubble at the end of the semester, we will relook at something to give you an opportunity to improve your grade. Doesn't mean it will be improved, but I'll give you an opportunity to do so if we can. That's pretty much it with your first assignment. So let me get you some feedback and get that back to you. All of it looks pretty good. One thing that I'm liking about you guys is I try to have you guys keep things pretty terse and as simple as possible. That's why I say in 100 words or very short, because I don't want you guys to give me a thesis or think that you could just keep putting your head down, and the more effort you put in, the better grade you're going to be, because that's not the case. It really isn't. It's in a lot of these cases, it might take you a while to come up with 100 good words on something. And I want you to think about that as well. I mean, not everything we do, as a matter of fact, very few things that we do are really going to be writing me, with your 100 words on something, because it is a math class, but there's going to be that as well. But I want you guys to get out of the whole mindset, and this goes with, word problems, like I gave you, like that short essay, and also with the math that we're going to start with on this week is I really want you guys to get rid of the mindset of hurrying up and getting the answer as fast as you possibly can. Okay, that's not the way we do things. Did you ever sit by that kid, like in school, that always gets the test done faster than anyone else and says, I'm done, and kind of looks around and smirks? Okay, no one likes that kid. Okay, and don't be that person. You don't need to be. I'm looking for thought here. I'm looking for you to have the ability to process this and to research things. Now, what does that mean in English? Like with the example I gave you about the difference between a proof and a theorem. Now, that's a pretty simple question, all right, albeit it is. So very easily, you could go to Google and look it up and say, what's a proof, what's a theorem? And you could pretty much read other people's words and parrot them back in your own words. Okay, you know what? That will get you so far in life. It's gotten me pretty far in a lot of respects, but it doesn't get you far enough, though. That's good for a little bit, but it doesn't really get you to the point where you're developing critical thought and you're becoming true problem solvers. I'll give you an example of this. I'm an amateur musician and I'm learning how to play a different instrument, right? And it's hard for me because I have to learn something new. And what I can do is I could memorize what I need to do. I could memorize the music I need to play. I could memorize the part I need to play. And I could practice from memory the part I need to play. And I could practice from memory what I need to do. And I could probably pull it off and then record something or go with my band and play it. It might sound okay. It might sound good. It probably doesn't. It probably sounds okay. But where I'm going at with this is that doesn't really develop me as a person that could look at something critically and be able just to do it on the fly. So me just coming up with the quick answer, it gets me so far, but it doesn't really get me to the point where I'm good enough to be able to take something and just to be able to run with it. And I want you to be in that area when it comes to this class and indeed in life, where you can not just memorize this stuff or be able to come up with an answer and have it correct, but not being able to develop the processes in your brain to be able to critically think these things out and not look up the right answer, but be the right answer. Now, that's a very big hurdle to get to, especially in college, because you're used to looking things up. You're used to looking at things and saying, well, this is the answer. I looked it up and this is the, you asked me a question. Oh, here's the answer. But at some point, you need to evolve past that and you need to be the answer. You need to be the person that people go to when they have a question. And so when people look things up, they look things up and then go to you, either through your knowledge or something you've written or something you've contributed. So that's a little bit tougher to do. So I'm trying to develop that in you guys with some of these assignments where even though it might look easy, I want you guys to do some research and have it sink in and take the time to actually try to develop those synapses and that cognitive process that it takes to actually not just survive the question, but rock the question and to completely just master it. So you're not going in there saying, well, I got the question right. You're really saying, hey, not only did I get the question right, but I can get all the questions right that are in the same area. So if you ask me any questions about theorems and proofs, not just this one, but any of them, I'd be prepared to answer those. And that's when you're really making a true jump. And this is what a lot of you, this is where you're at a lot with your learning is, up to now, pretty much your learning has been pretty much look up the answer and put it in your own words and parrot. I call it parroting. No, not parody like, making, like a parody, like a comedy, but you parrot it back like the bird that just like talks but doesn't really know what it's saying. It's probably a good analogy. Guys, I want you to get past that point and not just survive this homework, but actually rock it. Where you're like, oh, I get this. I know how it's applied. I know why it's important. And I can answer not just these questions, but a lot of the questions like it. So that's the context behind some of this stuff. So let's talk about a little bit about what we're moving on to. We're going to move on to some simple math concepts. One of the concepts, or the concept we're going to discuss in the next week or so, is we're going to talk about the concepts of factorials and permutations and combinations. So you're going to dust off some of your high school math skills, and we're going to reimagine or re-engineer them to some more computer science. So I'm not going to give you much of a lecture today on this because I just posted the assignment. So you can go to that assignment and look at it, and look at the assignment and do your reading. It's not due to February 14th, which is Valentine's Day, the day that all men just absolutely dread. Guys, I got news for you. Valentine's Day is coming on the 14th. So be ready, okay? And I got news for you again. This is not a Hallmark holiday. This is not Sweetest Day. This is not something a card company made up. You got to be prepared for this. So do your homework first, right? But anyway, the homework I assigned for you, the exercise, the assignment 2, isn't due for a couple weeks. So I want you to start with your reading. Go to the assignment. I got some links down there for you for a simple link on factorials explained, on combinations, on permutations, and some step-by-step instruction on how to do combinations and permutations. Now, after I get some questions from you guys and some feedback, and I kind of get where you're at with this, I'll come back either on Thursday or maybe next week with my own lecture on combinations and permutations and factorials and doing factoring. Now, as I mentioned before, is I generally don't put together lectures on things that we already have material on, but that doesn't mean I won't. I usually spend my time kind of giving giving our content texture, context, and some leadership and some governance, like where we're going with this. And I tend to have my lectures based on that, because otherwise I just be repeating myself, right? I mean, it would almost be like, giving a lecture on times tables. Well, there's a billion of them out there. Do I really want to do that? Do I really want you to watch that twice when there's so many things that are out there? So what I usually do is I wait for feedback and I kind of see where you're at as a whole. And then based on that, I'll come up with something that's not generic, something that's more applied to what we're doing. So this week's going to be part of that. So I'm just about ready to wrap it up. Just to wrap things up, please have assignment 1 done. If you don't have it done, please get it done. If you need more time, take it, but don't take too long. Start doing your reading for assignment 2. Look at your questions for assignment 2 and start developing the process I talked about. Don't put your head down and look at question 1 and do it end to end. I want you to tip your toe, to kind of like, to look at it at different levels. Like, you look at it from 30,000 feet. Well, what's Bob asking me to do? What do I need to know for this? And then look at it a little bit more, and then do your reading, and then go look back at the question. I want you to approach it like that, holistically. It's like a puzzle approach. I don't want you to solve each thing. This isn't, an hour test. You have some time to do this. I want you to kind of take it in chunks. Some of the questions, well, a couple of them are pretty easy, and some of them are a little bit not. So, and then kind of go back and forth between the question and the reading. And then I'm always here. Again, reach out to me. I can meet you guys individually for any individual questions you might have. I prefer you go to my Google Calendar, get an appointment. But hey, if that's not your jam, you can go old school. You can send me an email, call me. We'll do whatever works for you. I don't want you to feel you're out there in the lurch just doing this stuff all by yourself with this remote learning and stuff, because I'm a real person. This is a real class. This is real stuff. This is a real grade. These are 3 real credit hours. So anything that you need, just let me know. As a matter of fact, with all all the events with this remote stuff, I actually believe that this allows us to cover more because you're not really tied to, going to the class and class being a class, and when the face-to-face time is over, you're done. I mean, now you could schedule this whenever you want. It's truly remote, meaning that your education comes to you now. I think that's kind of a good thing. All right, folks, that's all I had for you. Sorry about babbling. You should have enough to get started with assignment 2. So jump into that, and I will post another lecture on Thursday. So thank you for making it this far, and be safe, and I bid you all a very well rest of the day. Thank you.